Hey everybody, welcome back to Into the Veil. This is Rachel. I wanted to show you something really neat. Right here, we've got two. So this one's a little longer. There's some little toes I hope you can see. And the heel is fairly deep. So for all the bigger these are, my impression is that they've got a decent amount of body mass when they do take a physical form. There's a little one, and it's shaped a little different, so we may have both types. Here, this is wider at the top. Don't really see the toes, but it's angled a little more, like some of them are.
Looks like they were walking side by side.
That's what I'm feeling. I was trying to see if we saw any more up here. There's a lot of scuff mark, but I'm not sure if it's as defined. We thought we would come back here toward the mound and see what was going on and if they accepted the gift that I left. I don't know if I picked the right place. Not sure what the right place is yet, but I'm almost certain that we'll know as we go along. This is a little new. But A for effort, I hope. And we'll just go on up the trail and see what else we find. So, right here at this tree, we're walking along and I kind of noticed all these different branches from different sources and thought it was interesting around that knothole. It doesn't look like what we typically know Sasquatch people to do, so I thought it might have to do with our little people. We're just kind of looking around here at the base for feet. There's several little track marks. Just thought it was kind of curious. Okay guys, welcome back. We just were walking along our normal path and found this amazing it's a little skull. Looks like it's been around a minute. I don't want to disturb it too much because I don't know if it's a gift or a marker of confirmation. There's several little holes around it. I just thought it was pretty fascinating. And it really was put somewhere we weren't going to miss it because we always walk back the same way. So I can't say who sourced it exactly, but I thought it was pretty cool. Got a lot of little noises going on back here today, so we're trying to keep our eye out. If you watch, I will say part of the way that I'm capturing the little people and the big people is if you slow the speed down on the video to like 0.25, you know, understand they vibrate very quickly. So when you slow it down, you will see portals, you'll see images where they're kind of phasing in and out, or sometimes movement. I mean, there's all kinds of different things, and every time I work with it I learn something new, not only about them but about the way electronics plays with the energy. But that's just something, if you'd like to experience that a little bit and see part of what, you know, is to be seen. And some of them are more evident than that. You don't have to slow it all down, but it's pretty cool.
What are some of the variations of these little people that you know of from different parts of the world that people associate with?
Well, you know, I grew up with a Scotch-Irish grandmother, and it was always gnomes, fairies, elves. They even believed in house elves. I thought brownies were an outdoor creature, but then later I heard that they were a house gnome or a house elf. They've traditionally been known to be helpers, but then there are some pieces of lore with the darker side of that energy, which would be like your goblin types. Occasionally I've picked up images where there's this really honking nose, and some of these feet that we find out here are very long and narrow, and for some reason that image comes to my mind when I see those feet. So I'm sure we have both, good and bad, if there's such a thing. But we haven't had any problems with anything out here that I'm aware of. The primary energy that I've seen out here is more of what I would term a gnome than I would a dwarf. In my mind, a dwarf is bigger, much more underground. These are almost always with a tree, or very near, and they have a very distinct look about them. They almost look like they have headgear or headwear that would be, when I see it, I think of an animal or a hat that would be made out of an animal fur with little ears. Nothing I've ever seen in a picture to know for sure. So I'm still learning about this myself. The elven people traditionally have a much more pointed ear and are longer, leaner, and I think they have a distinctly different job. I've only caught sight of a couple of images that remind me of that. What else? Fairies. Fairies are so fast, they're very hard to catch. I'm trying to chase down one video that we had where there was this little green thing flying around us, me, in the video, and that was the first thing that came to mind. It's good, but it was distinctly green. I mean, emerald green, and you couldn't miss it. I feel like all of these creatures are actually here to kind of tend to nature. We're so dependent on nature. I don't think we all really realize how much of a loss we would be at without the oxygen that the plants, the trees, you know, produce. I think that they supply other life forms, say Sasquatch, with herbs or different things they need, maybe as a food source or something to stay warm with if it's winter. So in my mind, it's a kind of an important job that these little energies have in maintaining nature and making sure everything stays balanced. Mound.
I'm sure by what we've seen, they probably know all of the tricks of the trade and the ins and the outs of creating their own gateways and doors and portals. I think someone had asked you if they were piggybacking on Sasquatch using those.
I see them, you know, I don't know that I see them piggybacking, What I have seen is that they are very often, I've got one great picture, if I can give it to you clear enough, you can actually see a rectangle door right at or in one of the bigger trees, and I had to look 3 times to make sure that I was seeing what I was seeing, because it was such an anomaly. But it literally looked like I had a door frame on it. And I dragged Kenny over there to look at it because I thought I was seeing things, but there were a lot of these energies around it, and the feeling that I get is that they may be in charge of helping to control that energy or maintain that energy in a specific way. So I don't feel that Sasquatch is dependent on them to open or shut these things, but I do believe that they work together in maintaining them. Once they've served a purpose, I did have a subscriber ask if these portals close, and the answer is yes. I have seen where once they've served their purpose and aren't needed anymore, that they kind of lose that energy. I'm sure they could be reopened if they needed to, but if you think about the amount of concentration it must take to maintain these things, at least energetically.
Look at that. That looks like a snare trap that's been set.
I'm not scared. So if it grabs me, will you rescue me?
I'm going this way.
Okay. There's a big old X right there. This is a little weird back here. But the whole point being is, you know, they use what they need, but they don't try to keep using energy or keep using anything that can't be utilized properly. That's cool. Little bitty egg. Yes, thank you.
Well, we're getting close to the mound. If you want to get that little gift box out, we'll lay it on this log up here and you can show everybody what we came up with.
All right. Trying to find a clear pipe. So, if I can get this, may be a challenge for the wheel. Oh, really? This was not complicated before. I was going to keep it a little bit simple and give it to them in doses. But we've got a cork with a needle. Some stick matches. If we come out and the woods is gone, we'll know what happened. Some rubber bands. Piece of deer antler. Some sugar. Some little beads.
Hold it in front of the can. You keep going past.
I'm sorry. Right here. There's some light twine. And some wire. A couple of lucky copper pennies. Little carbiner ring. Little bag to put all their goodies in. And a little miniature gator tool, which hopefully will not be used against us. I had a little hesitation with this, but then I thought, no, that's alright. Get all this back in here.
So which one are you more hesitant with, the little multi-tool or the box of matches?
Well, they both give me pause, but
Well,
probably the multi-tool.
If we smell a little campfire burning back here, we'll know what happened.
Right? Well, that's when I guess I have to hope that our friend Sasquatch will just put his big old foot over the top of it and put it out. I don't know. Alright. Let me grab this. Somewhere we have some scrap leather that we were looking to bring out too, and we may have to wait on that because we couldn't find where we had put it. And so help me if I come out here and I have a new tiny pair of shoes. I may have to.
Wouldn't that be something?
I may have to retire myself.
Wouldn't that be something if you came out here and they left you a little tiny pair of slippers for all of that?
Something that might fit my big toe. So help me, I'll be retiring.
Well, there's the mound right up there through that swampy, witchy way.
I love it. And as curious as I thought that Sasquatch, there's a print here. That's our big brother.
Yeah, that's a big waffle stomp there. That's not.
That's not a little people stomp. But you find the little people stomps next to them. That's what makes me think they're in cahoots. Let's see, we got some deer. Changes right here. Did you feel it?
Yeah, all of the energy changes right here, and if you look at the ground out there, it's
almost like a racetrack.
No, it's a circle. We're inside of a circle here.
Oh Lord!
Look at it. That's a circle track running around this. Well.
Okay. Well, here's a little foot right here. A lot of little feet in here.
It's tracked up everywhere.
Wow, okay. So at the risk of being in a fairy ring, we're going to step on it.
Well, maybe you should leave the gifts in the fairy ring.
That might be an idea. Okay, let's try that instead. I'm looking here. Where do you want them, guys?
I don't know. Maybe right inside the 3 trees right there. Just sit it on the ground.
Yeah. They just must have a lot of density.
Probably.
Just gonna leave you like
We'll put the lid on it in case it rains. I'm sure they can manipulate that lid right off of there.
Alright, it's loose.
Probably easier than you could.
Probably. It's loose.
Now, had you left a little gift bag of some peanuts and treats up here?
I did.
Let's go check and see.
I just hope I'm not stepping on anybody. This is starting to get me bugged out.
Makes you wonder, because if they're invisible when you're walking through, are you stepping on them?
I don't know, but I'm literally sweating.
Maybe next time if we get shanked in the calf with that multi-tool, we know we stepped on somebody's toes.
So yeah, 2 reasons to wear the rubber boots. There's another foot right there. That one's bigger.
This kind of gives a whole new twist to Mama, look what followed me home.
Yeah, I hope not. I have no aversion to being friendly with the wee folk when we're in the house here, but I don't think we need extra company at home. You know, and that's something we've had to really work with, even with Sasquatch, is defining boundaries. A lot of people complain that they show up at their house, or right there. Look at that structure. Show up at their house, or you know, have difficulty with them that way. And I think we pretty well established early on, you know, that there were lines, so to speak. We drew a line in the sand, and thus far we haven't had any problems. We've had activity at home. Straight in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man, look at that little... I'm going to zoom in on it from back here just so they can see it. That whole little teepee structure right there under that.
I mean, that's definitely too small for Sasquatch. I suppose they could technically sit behind it, but it doesn't. It just doesn't feel the same as their normal structures. That's awesome.
But they say in a lot of regards that they can have the same effects on people that have been reported with Sasquatch activity, that you'll lose time and be wandering around in the woods and just all of a sudden not know that 5 or 6 hours have passed.
Some people have reported being gone for days in the lore. Knock on wood, it hasn't been our experience, but I really don't doubt a lot of those tales after you know, gaining an understanding for the capabilities. Get through all this. See what it's like. Stuff like that will just catch my eye. I don't know, because it's so little. It's all put together. Okay, I'm not gonna mess with it.
And with all of this fresh greenery coming in, it's a little harder to see some of the stuff that we were seeing earlier in the spring and winter, that some of the little tiny intricate braid work that we'd find back here, little pieces
Weavings.
of vine or plant material weaved into little pieces of rope or braid. Where'd you leave that? Up here?
Right up here. Just under there. And everything's gone.
A little bare spot right there.
Yeah. And see that? I want to say that I can see toes here, a heel here, but it's just a little different.
What do you got for them?
This is some nuts, some berries, little granola bar, leftover Cheetos. Not sure how they feel about that. And I'll put it right in the same spot. So, I appreciate everybody coming along today, and I hope you've enjoyed some of what we found. I'm going to try to put some of those pictures together, and if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you later.